Talking Boeing, shares are up about 50% so far this year. They've fallen over 20% since hitting those over 2-year highs that I mentioned before we went on break. Kevin, when you look at this one, from the end of September, this thing's been, if you look at a 1-year chart on it, it's been in a parabolic move to the downside.
I'll make you more depressed. The last time it hit $190, which it did today, December 30th of last year.
Yeah.
It's basically lost its whole year that it had. Yeah, it hit $243. It's now back to December 30th.
Yeah, it was up over 2% earlier in the session on the back of a report that United's going to order some 787s, but then there was a report that United's ordering some Airbus
A321s.
Maybe they're going to have a big order, split it up between the two. But look at that move to the right there on that chart. The last month has just been dismal for this stock.
Lay that on top of interest rates. It's the exact opposite.
Right. They had supply issues before. They've had some issues with SPR, some of their component makers for the planes. It seems like, Nick, one problem after another, but you're talking about basically a duopoly in the aircraft makers and a backlog of orders that doesn't seem to be helping the stock this over the last 30 or 40 days.
No, and you'll see kind of my theme here when we get to the trade debate and taking a little bit of a longer term view. And I think that's, if you're a believer in the company, that's kind of what you have to do, Tom. And obviously there's sort of the too big to fail mentality is out there, right? But it really is a duopoly, like you put. It's a 2-horse race with Boeing and Airbus, and there's some other interesting news out there around engines and engine efficiency, and Boeing moving towards a manufacturer that Airbus uses. So there's becoming even probably less diversity in the marketplace as these get kind of more and more integrated. But you look at some of the prospects for the future, right? Space taxis and military contracts that are pretty significantly reoccurring for Boeing, and it's hard to see, in the short, even I call it, it's hard to see in the medium term something that really disrupts this. And then you kind of couple with, interest rates are higher, and that's the short term impact here, but travel. And the demand for travel and the long-term prospects there are just so high, right? Both individual and consumers as well as business travel. So I think it's sort of a tale of two stories. You look at the last 20 trading sessions, and you're like, wow, what happened? And there isn't a ton of news, right? It's interest rates. It's there's no bad news per se that would drive this like sometimes you see in airlines in the travel sector. So. I think it is a bit of a pullback from the highs, obviously, but when you look at the long-term prospects, I think really good companies that have strong management use times like this with a changing macro environment to really position themselves for the future. And it feels like Boeing is trying to do that with not just the military piece, but NASA and the space travel piece and the energy efficiency piece. Right, they're trying to become the most efficient airline producer out there in terms of carbon emissions, and there's not going to be probably a mass exodus from jet fuel in our lifetimes. It doesn't seem like, guys, but really making these engines more efficient and making the planes more efficient, right, is something that they're focused on. So if you can couple all that together, I think short-term trend aside, the long-term prospects, feel really solid.
Electric planes coming anytime soon, Tom?
Joby Aviation's, that's one of them. They're doing the eVTOL. It's going to be Uber. Yep. It's going to be basically a drone that you're flying on to the airport.
Pass.
I don't know. If they do that with the construction and the traffic in Chicago, I'd be all over those things. If they get those.
No, I mean electric planes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see on that.